But I would like just some of the things that he does. I'm just like,
Hello, this is Live with Michelle Bain, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. Today we are here with Miss LaShona Jones. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Good, good, good. So LaShona, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do in Wichita, America.
All right. Well, Ms. LaShona Jones. I currently work in the Wichita Public School District. I'm a basketball coach on the side for youth basketball, and I am a first-time book author of a children's book called Family Ties.
So tell me a little bit about your coaching. How do you're writing book, you're coaching, you're working in a school district, tell me some things that you have understood about basketball and how does that really relate to real life?
Basketball relates to real life, especially in youth. I'm coaching for about 10 years. And it's always been a passion of mine to just reach youth on a different level, to make sure that they stay busy, stay active, and to build a family, to build a family bond, to build long-lasting friendships. And it's just something that I've enjoyed doing over the past couple of years.
So are you, what age level are you doing?
Currently, I am coaching between 5th graders and 8th graders. I'm with an organization that we focus on 3rd grade through 8th grade right now.
Okay. And, as you do that, as you are working with young people, why do you feel like that's so important?
I think it's so important nowadays because it goes back to that old school saying, it takes a village. I think nowadays kids are pulled so many different ways, and from whether it's a direction or a negative. And I'm just really old school. It takes a village. So anything that I do to try my best to save one less kid from, whatever it is. I coach girls. I've coached high school girls in the past. And even back then, if I could keep them busy in the summer, that one less teenage pregnancy, one less kid on the street, whatever it is, however you think of it, it just goes back to that old saying. It goes back to, it takes a village. And it's just my way of giving back to the community with doing something that I love and I have a passion for.
So when you think about it takes a village, when you think about young ladies, when you think about your capacity to mentor and to sow into the lives of young people, how does just this last case, we have had so many situations of police brutality, but to have this young lady that is in an altercation with some other young ladies, calls the police, comes out and is shot. What do you say to your young people about something like that?
First of all, just to address that situation, I think it's tragedy. Our kids are dying left and right every day. Unfortunately, if it's in the hands of the police, it's at the hands of each other. So I think it's a tragedy. However, what I try to instill in my girls that I coach is, just make sure that you're always in positive surroundings, just try to stay positive, watch your surroundings. And that's kind of what we do along with my basketball team. We try to form those sisterhoods and those long lasting bonds just outside of basketball, outside of school. So, but I do think it's a tragedy, and it's definitely got to stop. Some things have got to change.
So what kinds of things do you offer your young people besides basketball? What are you offering young people to help them understand that, family can be one of the hardest places to be. So how do we have those conversations with them about making good choices, especially as it pertains to, I may not necessarily have, I can choose my friends, but I can't choose my family. And so when those family ties are not so strong and not so great, what do we do to kind of help young people negotiate, navigate that?
Try to find a mentor. first and foremost, you know, and your mentor can be anybody. It can be inside the school, inside the church. It can be, you know, especially if you're a teenager and you have your first time job, it can be a supervisor. But I highly, highly encourage to find a mentor. It can be a coach. I mean, mentors look like all different shapes, sizes, people, and capacity. So definitely, I encourage young people today to find a mentor and get involved in something, you know, whether it's a community group, a church choir, whatever it is, just find something and please get involved in it.
Mhm. All right. So as we talk about getting involved and we talk about family, tell us why you chose Family Ties as your first book to write.
Sure. So the name of the book is called Family Ties. And the background for Family Ties, it goes back to, once again, with me coaching back in the day. 70% of our kids today live in some type of blended family. No matter what that blended family looks like, 70% of children today are blended families. And what I was finding in my background is, you know, especially when, let's say, parents would drop their kids off to practice, it would be the parents. I'd have a whole lot of chitter chatter. Oh, that mom's white. Oh, that dad's black. Oh, they don't look right. Or, oh, she just lives with grandma and grandpa. But what I was finding in my background is these kids did not care, you know, just the parents that, you know, did all the chitter chatter. So I kind of wanted to just put it in a book to kind of just introduce different types of blended families to children and what they look like, and just to let them know that, hey, it's okay no matter what your family looks like. So that's kind of the background on Family Ties.
So as your life has progressed, what in your background would make you, I mean, I know that, you know, you were writing to your kids, but what in your background would make you want to speak to this?
Personally, I identify with 3 different families in my book. Just, you know, I grew up in a single parent household. At one point, my dad was also remarried, and so therefore that was a blended family. So I identify with a couple families just in my own book. And so it was kind of easy to, you know, talk to and identify with these families. And like I said, we cover all different kind of families. And so it was easy for me to, you know, identify with children, no matter what kind of family they look like. I had friends growing up that lived with just their grandparents, you know, I had friends that was adopted. So it was very, very easy. And then, you know, like I said, with me being in the community and mentoring a lot of kids, it was also easy to just explain these families, because these are all the kind of the families that I was coming in contact with over the years.
So talk about your grandma a little bit. I love your grandma. She's an OG. But how has she been influential in your life? We're coming up to Mother's Day, and we celebrate all of the women in our lives. And I know that she's pretty special to you.
Absolutely. So for those of you that have not got Family Ties, if you turn to the very first page, the book is actually dedicated to my grandma. She's been by far one of the most influential people in my life. You know, she's been just so encouraging on everything I do. And like I said, in the dedication page, it says, you know, to my grandmother, from who I first fell in love with stories. I remember there was times like, no matter what was going on, if I wanted a book, she did not care. She gonna spend that money for a book. I also was a child that just loved to read. But she's also just taught me that, you know, those importance of building the village and getting involved in the community, making the proper connections with people. So she's, you know, the driving force of a lot of who I am today, her and my mother. So I don't know where I'd be without either one of them.
So as we come up to Mother's Day, as we come up to, you know, really looking at the family structure, what do you say to moms that are struggling with their kiddos? I know that you didn't personally necessarily have these children, but you have children, because when we work in school systems, when we work in with kids, they become ours, even though we didn't give birth to them. So what do you say to that mom that's struggling, that's just, you know, like, I really don't know what to do. I really am just trying to figure this out. What are words that you can tell them to encourage them today?
First of all, I would tell them to stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. It is okay to take a break. I mean, we're living in a time where it's just so much going on. And I'm a firm believer that if your mental health is not good for yourself, then it's not going to be good for anybody, especially your children. So especially the single mothers, stay encouraged, stay patient, stay prayerful. Those are my top main three things. Like I said, I grew up in a single parent household, and now that I'm an adult myself, I get it so much more than what I did as a child. We're always encouraging young people to find a mentor, to find something to do. But for mothers, it's okay to do that as well. Find a women's group, girls that Friday and go out to eat with some friends, a movie, something. So definitely, but those three things: stay encouraged, stay prayerful, and just make sure that you take care of you, because I mean, we need our mothers. They are the foundation of many households and many structures. We definitely need our mothers.
How do you have the conversation with parents? I know that, in teaching in public school, a lot of times athletics is one of the most important things to people. They could care less about education. They just want their, little Tommy's going to go to the NBA. He's going to go to the NFL. Little Becky is going to be, the next WNBA star. What do you say, and how do you deal with the fact that, if a kid is not academically doing so well? I mean, they've been at home for a whole year.
Right. That is a very, very good question. I'm a firm believer of student athlete first. And unfortunately, I think once again, we're living in a time where somewhere along the lines, people have forgot that it is student athlete first. The student part comes first. I think we need to go back to the days where if little Tommy has 2 D's and 3 C's, little Tommy don't need to suit up. I think the education has got to be first. And I think, it's unfortunate, but in the world of youth sports today, we are living in a time where a lot of people forget that student athlete part first. There's been times where I've even told parents on my own team, I have parents that talk to me all the time about their kids' grades and stuff. And if it doesn't sound right to me, I encourage parents, hey, why don't you stay home today? Let's do that homework. I've done grade checks before. There's been times over the years where I've done school pop-ups, because once again, it takes that village, but it definitely has to be student athlete first. So I think we need to get back to the time where the student part is so important.
Yeah. So where can people find your book? Where can they purchase? Where can they find you on social media, sorts of pieces?
So I'm currently on Amazon. You can look up Family Ties on Amazon. I'm on Instagram at LaShona Jones Books. And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter as well. Those are people that know me in the community as well. If you reach out to me, I always have copies on hands as well. So I can always get a copy to you.
Tell us what you have coming up next.
Ooh, what I have coming up next. So I'm in the process of working on a part 2 of Family Ties, and it is going to be entitled Bridging the Gap. Bridging the Gap is going to be pretty much, we're going to break down the families in Family Ties. Like for example, what happens to these families when mom and dad get a divorce? The child, unfortunately, sometimes has to go to a new school, meet new friends, so we're going to break down different scenarios of bridging the gap and, just get back to blended families, but like I said, it all comes into, just letting young children an open lens to see it is okay. It is okay if your family doesn't look like this family doesn't look like that family. And so we're going to build on Family Ties with Bridging the Gap. So I'm hoping to be done with that by January of 2022.
Okay. Anything else that we can be looking for? Or are you going to be in any pop-ups anytime soon?
Hopefully, with all the community pop-ups, I don't have nothing scheduled at the current moment. I think my next booth will probably be at Juneteenth. Current moment, I don't have any pop-ups, but like I said, if anybody needs a copy of Family Ties, I can always get a copy of Family Ties. Thank you in advance for all of you guys that have supported and purchased Family Ties. It's doing great. Like I said, it's a great introduction starter for people living in some type of blended family.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for spending some time with us, talking to us about Family Ties, talking to us about athletics, and making sure that we understand that community is so important, that mentorship is important, that student athletes, you must be a student before you're an athlete. And all of those things are so important as we look at the degradation of our communities and our familial systems that we have been grown up with, where, you know, the way that these kids are growing up is not the way we grew up. And
Absolutely.
so just definitely, I appreciate anybody who can be out there and who can remind our students that they really need to be looking at family, and family comes in so many different forms. It's not necessarily just the people that you're born with, but it is those people that you pull in and that become who it is that you need to help you grow and help you prosper and be the best person that you can be.
Absolutely.
Tell us one more time where they can find you and where they can see you on social media.
You can purchase your copy of Family Ties on Amazon or Instagram at LaShonaJonesBooks.com, or just inbox me, get a hold of me on Facebook or Twitter, and we will definitely make sure that you have a copy of Family Ties.
Absolutely. Thank you, LaShona, for coming, and we appreciate all that you are doing in the community to make it a better place to be. This is Live with Michelle Band, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality, and we just want to encourage you to live blessed. Make sure you get your copy of Family Ties.